Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to another of my replays, and this time it's the STA-2. Now this is pretty much hot on the heels of the AMX CDC, but this was also an interesting game, and it's not really a tank I'm qualified to talk about because this has so far been my only game in the STA-2, and I'm kind of tempted to leave it that way. You'll see why. This is the other tier 8 premium that was introduced. It's on the Japanese tree, and it's definitely the inferior of the two. Now, I can't directly check all the stats in Tank Inspector because Tank Inspector is not working for me at the moment, and I haven't been able to download the latest version because apparently you can't do that right now. Or at least if you can, I haven't been able to. I just get a timeout error every single time, which is kind of annoying. But I do know that it has an inferior gun, it has inferior mobility. Some of the soft stats are better, it's got a better reload, but overall you would take the CDC over this all day long. The main reason to get one, of course, is if you're training up a Japanese medium crew, at which point, okay, yes, this can do that, and the CDC can't. But just in terms of as tanks, the CDC is the better of the two. Vosh has actually also done a video on this that you can go check out. This wasn't me zooming in and out, by the way. This is all the replay that's doing this. Most of the 9.6 replay bugs seem to be when you're in sniper view, but it sometimes happens when you're not in as well. You'll see. So I'm just trying to get some early snipes in. I'm not pushing too far forwards. I'm not being aggressive because, like I said, this was my very first battle. I haven't played the STA-1. I have very few mediums that are like this. Like, the CDC is probably the most fragile medium tank that I've got. I don't really have many medium tanks that are that kind of playstyle, so I'm definitely being cautious. But I've managed to score a few hits in, which is alright. I mean, I think the gun is relatively accurate. 180 average pen. It's a fairly long. These are fairly long-range shots, but I'm getting people's side armor, so for these kind of flank shots, it's adequate, but you compare that to the 32, is it, extra average pen that the CDC gets, and it's unquestionably the inferior gun. I mean, it fires faster, it's got that going for it. And if you are, if you're sitting in front of an AMX CDC with one of these things, and you're both firing each other, you're going to win in terms of the DPM rate. Against weakly armoured targets, that 30-odd average pen isn't going to matter, but there are a lot of targets in the game where it is going to matter, so yeah. So I've spotted what's happening in the valley. Our 3 tanks, not even that, what, 2 tanks? No, 3, yeah, the Tiger P and the KV3, and I think the Chaffee went to scout the valley as well. I wasn't really paying attention to the valley side up until that point anyway. They've been nuked because that's a good third of the enemy team that went through the valley, and my initial thought is I'm going to turn around and actually hopefully slow these guys down. Taking out their scout. Now, obviously he spotted me. This is my only Japanese medium crew I've got in this thing. They're not very good. I don't play that many Japanese mediums, or I haven't played that many battles in Japanese mediums, I should say. I have got the Cheeto. The Cheeto is alright. But being shot in the butt is a bit of a problem right now, as you can see. So, no sixth sense. I don't know if I'm spotted or unspotted, but this is not a good position to be in. My thought of we'll stay here and try and defend is... This is proving to be rapidly untenable. So, a bit of a snapshot against the T-44. It's aimed low and it goes low, so that's fair enough. But this is... We're going to get caught in the crossfire. This is the point where, okay, I think I'm going to put one shot in and then I'm just going to run away. So I do get that shot into the T-44 and now I'm just backing off. Now you might think, oh my god, he's abandoning those other 2 tanks to die. Well, one of them's a tier 6 heavy tank, and the other is a Centurion who frankly should be getting the hell out of the way, but isn't. He should be following myself and the ISU. The ISU's seen he's seen what's coming. The Centurion should have seen what's coming, but instead he chooses to just brazen it out whilst being shot from 2 sides. It's not going to go well for him, as you're going to see. And that T-29 that's pushing into him is full health, so yes. That was predictable. He should have run away and didn't. I've lost a bunch of health, but I'm still alive myself, and that's good. And the ISU is also still alive, which is even better. We have got the superiority in the team. I mean, in the town, rather. The T-28 Prot was concentrating on firing up at us, as the Tiger P was. We can see that Tiger 1 there was also fairly badly damaged, so they took him out. So the Tiger, the T-28 Pro isolated himself from his teammates. That's fine, that's let us get the upper hand, but all my remaining teammates in the town are now pretty badly damaged. You see the AC-46 has actually, oh no, he's still got full health, but the rest of them are badly damaged. And the AC-46 doesn't have much armor to speak of, so yeah. So we spot tanks pushing across from the other side. That T-29 is very high health. He's taken, what, 1 hit? And although earlier on when I was sniping at people crossing during the initial phase of the battle, I was hitting most of what I was aiming at this point, not so much. And that's a problem. We really need to put some hurt into these guys, and I'm just not able to get them, and that's gonna be bad, because that means that they're going in able to take hits against our teammates who can't take any hits. So they can just use their hit points to their advantage at that point. They can just go, right, I'm going to take a hit, I'm going to take out this guy. So, yeah, we need these to count, and I don't think I did a single damaging shot among that lot. The ISU's in the open here. I could potentially one-shot this guy. I think there are some fences in the way, so I can't get his outline, and it doesn't happen. Some of those fences, it doesn't seem like you can actually shoot through the fence posts, which is slightly annoying sometimes. But because I didn't have the silhouette, I was kind of guessing where to hit that ISU, and he is now dead. Our ISU's killed him, but it would have been nice to shoot him. However, the KV-4, who took his sweet time crossing that. I mean, he was well behind his teammates, and that's cost him dearly. He was the only top tier heavy of either team, and he's now out of action. So that was actually quite an important kill. So it's good that my gun was working for that part. But in the town, however, it's now 2 versus 2. That T-29 knows he can just go in and take the hits. He's taken out that AMX M4. However, bam, our ISU puts his gun to work, so that's good. And that's the remaining 2 medium tanks. The T-44 wasn't spotted for a while, and it looks like he took the really long way around the outside edge. And that has meant that he didn't get spotted crossing. He didn't take any further hits. So he's not full health, but he's not super low health either. So we're down to this, 2 versus 2. Me and an ISU versus the Centurion and the T-44. It's not so good. So at the moment, I'm using cover. I'm trying to use the camo advantage, and I'm trying to basically spot for the ISU, but this only works so long as the ISU doesn't die, and he's fairly low health. I'm not super high health myself either, and I can't even tell while I'm spotted, so I'm having to be a bit cagey here. I'm also starting to run down a bit on my AP ammo. I'm down to 11 shells already, and it doesn't feel like I've fired that many shots. So, unlike the CDC, and that's another way in which the CDC is better. The CDC gets way more ammunition than the STA does. Yeah, no, I was not looking at the lake there. That's just, you know, replay bugs. So that's going to be the T-44 that's on the cap, so I decide I'm going to use this opportunity to move up. The fact that the ISU is still in the game, the fact that he has apparently, you know, he's got enough brain cells to rub together to play reasonably smart and try and stay alive, means that I'm sort of confident in having him as backup. But I'm going to have to take some risks and probably going to have to take some hits in order to get this accomplished. So there's the T-44 on the minimap. I haven't actually spotted, but that's lucky. That goes into my tracks. And can I get him? Can I get him? Well, he fires and pulls back at the same time, so it hits the pile of rubble, so I don't take a hit. But I decide, right, I know the Centurion's alone. I'm just going to pull out and shoot this guy. I'm pretty sure I've got a better rate of fire than him, so bam, there we go. A little bit risky, but I figured if he's got the 20-pounder gun, I've definitely got a better rate of fire, so yeah. It's now 2 versus 1. The T-44 can take a couple of hits from me. I can take maybe a couple of hits from him. Again, I don't know what gun he's got. The one shot that hit me went in the track, so that tells me no information whatsoever. I'm also trusting the ISU to stay alive while I try and flank, which in theory is a good plan, but the T-44 has had exactly the same idea, so I could just sit there and duke it out with him, but I'm backing up in the desperate hope that the ISU can get round in time, because I'm just trying to draw him in to the ISU's range of fire. The ISU was fortunately paying attention, and there we go. That came awfully close to not being a win. Awfully close, but between myself and the ISU, that was a nice bit of gameplay, a nice bit of teamwork even, that's the word I'm looking for, between two completely random teammates. So yeah, I mean, that round out being quite a nice battle, and you can kind of see when you look at the results why I'm tempted just to leave that being my only battle. So that was 3.8k damage done. I fired 32 shots, hit 22, so that was about 2/3 accuracy. That's not too bad. That was slightly over 2/3 in fact. I had a bunch of minor ribbons plus, of course, the high caliber. Easily top damage on the team. The ISU got himself a top gun, and we also had an Indian Panzer that did really well. So the top couple of tanks on the team, I think, just did enough between them that was a win. I mean, the Indian Panzer, although he died in the town, he did enough damage before he went down to get himself second place on the team. So he did pretty well for himself. Some of the other tanks on the team, like the Centurion that died, that was not so good. There was a 30 right down at the bottom with 0 damage. That was also not so good. That was a bit of a waste of a top tier tank. But there were enough people doing enough on that team that even though there were some decent players on the enemy team, that was okay. And that effort, you know, 1100 base XP, which meant I got 1737 with premium, and that's now what displays in my service record as one game with 1700 average XP. So that's why I'm kind of tempted to leave it there. It would have been even better if I'd had an ace mastery, but that just being like my very first game in the STA-2, it wasn't ultra spectacular, but it was pretty damn close. It's just a pity it wasn't an ace, otherwise I would definitely leave it. I mean, I probably will go and play it some more, but I'm so tempted to just leave it and just have it be that one tank on my service record that has ridiculous XP. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem awful until you then compare it to its competition. It's certainly better than something like a Super Pershing, just because it can move better than a Super Pershing, but compare it to the CDC and suddenly it doesn't look so good. But on the other hand, you compare really most of the tier 8 premium mediums to the CDC and they don't look so good either. So yeah, the CDC is by a quite a long nose well ahead of the pack. I don't know why I went with a racing term there. I don't know. I suppose it's fast, but anyway, never mind. Getting off the track. So yeah, there we go. The STA-2. I don't hate it, but I think there's no particular reason to love it, I guess, would be my summary of having played one battle. Yes. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.